Yo, what is up, guys? I am back with another episode. Welcome to the Safe Room. You know what it is. It is the President, Sean Williams. And today we have a lot of things to talk about. Well, I wouldn't really say a lot. I would just say pertaining to a couple of topics I have in mind. But first, I just want to say I hope you guys are enjoying your day. Hope that you're just getting in your grind, whatever it is, whatever dreams, goals, aspirations you had. Just make sure that you're having the motivation to just go out there and do it. But today I want to talk about a topic that I've had on my mind for a while, and this is just fair warning off the jump. This is a quick trigger warning if you feel that the conversation that I'm about to express to you guys is a little too deep. So if there's times that you feel what I'm saying is kind of like getting to you in terms of just like your emotions and everything, then that's okay. You don't have to listen to it fully, please. But again, the whole point about this podcast, I just like to be as open as possible, whatever conversation, whatever subject matter is brought to the forefront. With that being said, I want to talk about community work. Now, you know me. I love my community. I love helping out, helping others. I think it's a key component to just living a substantial life, making sure that you live every full second because again, we're not going to be on this earth for a long time, a long period. Our fate has been sealed, and I think it is important that we focus on the things that we need to do in terms of like help others achieve what they have to do. That's something that I've stand for a very long time. But on the contrary of that, I have to talk about the other perspective. So again, if you're like me when it comes to community work, and obviously again, there are so many organizations out there, so many groups, businesses, initiatives, projects, whatever you want to say it, there's a lot that are doing a lot for the community, whether it's helping a specific group or try to provide resources, or even better, just trying to make remove like systematic barriers, or negative stereotypes. Like, I totally get that. That's cool. But at the same time, you fall in that position where it's like, okay, how long can I help the community out? And more importantly, what is the end goal? That's the question I always like to ask myself at the end. Like, what is the end goal? Because I ain't gonna cap with you. There be times that I be doing stuff, and sometimes the end goal is not as like, specified at first, or better yet, it doesn't really have like a full out answer. Like, they can't really tell you like, oh, we have an idea, but we're not sure, or like we're working on it, or maybe we don't really have an end goal. And I get it. Not everything needs to be like rushed and completely, straight to the point. But at the same time, I mean, like, do you know what world we're living in? Just like, especially how things are moving so fast. So it's like, if you take a slower approach, like a slow pace, then maybe sometimes it's not going to give out the best impression. We're like, okay, we're doing all this work, but we want to make sure that we provide results, especially when it comes to community work. Now, if anyone knows just the context of it, whether if you lived it from your personal experience or anything, then sometimes community work can be very hectic. Whether it's something that you actually would like to do or something that you were just thrown into, it can be hectic. This is coming from someone that's done a lot of community work and can personally say that sometimes it's annoying. It's annoying. Like, I'm not gonna cap. It gets annoying. So you're probably wondering, Sean, what do you mean? So there'll be times that I'll be in a community project, and I think the first thing we can mention is the people you work with. And again, I'm not trying to take shots at no one. Okay, I'm just saying, it's not really bad to work with people, but obviously if it's a group of individuals that you don't really know that well, you may have to take the first couple of maybe a week, maybe a couple of weeks to get to know the team. So that way you yourself and everyone else on the team are just in unison. You guys are on the same page. You're thinking as one machine. You're working as a strong force. And like, that's just how it be. That's the process sometimes. And I get it, but at the same time, it's like, I gotta go into new people. I don't even know this, especially, if this isn't even in a territory that you're familiar with. Let's say you live on like the east end, but the project's taken on the west end. So it's kind of like, I gotta go travel all the way over here to people that I don't even associate with on a daily basis. And it's like, Like, you know what? It's like it's hard. Like the adaptation, it's gonna be a long process. So that's one thing. Another thing too is eventually when you get to the work itself, like, okay, what's the problem? What are we trying to address? Who are we addressing to? What is our audience? What are the next steps? What are the main goals? That can sometimes tire you out as well because again, with community work, people don't understand. And like I feel like we need to take a moment to appreciate community work. Because again, like I know everyone talks about what do these high level businesses do, these top level multinational corporations. I get it, this and that. But at the same time, don't forget, the state, like all of this is built on the community. Like without us doing the work in front, there wouldn't be anything for like, these higher ups to do. And more importantly, if there wasn't anything happening within the community, what is the government doing? They're not going to be doing their jobs where they have to address other issues happening in specific areas. Like people have to take that consideration. And like this is not just now. Like there's a context to this. Like this is just how history's been. It's been built on, the community or what people like to say like the lower class or the middle class. It's been built on that. We are the foundation. We are the framework. So we have to give respect to that. But again, like I said, because we are like the main groundwork, it's a lot to do, like no one really realizes it. And I won't lie, when I stepped into community work, I was like, okay, I'll probably do a little bit of assistance here, a little 1-2 there, until I realized when I got so in deep, I'm like, holy shit, like this something else, man. Like there are times like I'm like, I can't even focus on my academics, bro. I have to do this. I gotta do this community work. I gotta get this done. So with me kind of just rambling on because I feel like I am at this point, but hey, what the heck, I'm getting a little emotional. You get to the point where like, okay, you understand that, you got to meet the team. You got to know the process. Now it's about actually doing it, executing it. Sorry, my mic is moving. Anyway, basically execute it and hopefully you move on to next steps. And that's where like the blockade comes in the road where it's like, not all the time you get to see that with some projects, and it makes you wonder, like, how long can I be doing stuff like this? Because like maybe you may be a person that does this for the first time and it just happens to you once. But for me, I've seen it multiple times. I'm telling you, there are times where I get called up to do a project and I can just like give a quick analysis just from the name, what do they do, what is the objectives, and I could just say, you know what, this is for me. I want to put my time and commitment for this. And there's other times like, you know what, sorry, I'm gonna pass on it, but hopefully you guys find all the success in the future. And it's because again, the more you get deep into it, you actually start to see bigger behind like all the actual work, and where is this actually going? Because again, it's called community work, but I'm pretty sure we don't want this work to just go to the community. We want other people to hear it as well. Now, I know what I just said might have been confusing and a little bit stupid, but hear me out. We do this for those in whether it's marginalized neighborhoods or areas that have lack of resources. We do it for these places. And that's cool because we should be focusing at our territories. But also, at the same time, with a lot of community work, is the issue of money. Now, if you see where I'm going with this, money, finance, funding, it's like an Achilles heel. It stings, it hurts, and it always comes back to haunt you. A lot of projects need funding to do the work that they need to do, whether it's compensation for workers, whether it's to carry out a certain plan, whether it's to renew contracts or anything like that. For resources, supplies, they need funding. And where does that funding come from? Maybe sometimes it comes from, different organizations and foundations, which is cool. Other times it comes from government. Heck, sometimes it comes from institutions. Universities do these as well. They fund certain projects. And again, when you think about a negotiation, there's always like a one side, another side, and it's always about interest. It's always about whose interest is best, considered. And most of the time, based on power dynamics, it's usually the institution, usually the government, usually the ones that are higher than the community that you have to pique their interest. And as much as we wish it could not be that terrible stigma, it is the case. So again, because from my personal experience, I can like really say that when you do this work, you know you have to run into these types of people who are going to, again, maybe they don't approve your funding or they have something to say, or like we can't make any steps until we get improvement from there. It's just like how much time are you gonna fight that? And that's where I wanted to talk about doing work for the community and doing work within the community. There's a lot of people who I will say put their passion and soul to make sure that they don't take no bullshit from government or these, whether it's from anyone who has a level of like power dynamic over us. They are the individuals that put it all and go the extra distance, to actually see the product that whether they started or they have heavily, contributed to succeed. And I respect that. But there's also people, and I won't lie, I feel like I was part of that, but I'm trying to move away with that. There's us who work within the community, who we do the work, and whether we grow tired and like, I don't want to do any more community work, I want to do something different, or you don't want to do the work anymore because you kind of know how the narrative and the story plays out. In the sense like, look, man, we're going to probably do this work, and probably a couple months later, there's gonna run in something about funding's low, or we can't move on unless we get approval from this side. So then you're at a stalemate. You're stuck, and it's kind of like, what do I do now? It's like I can't like just chill and just do nothing. There has to be something we can do. There has to be at least some next step. And sometimes you can't find no next steps. Most of the times you're kind of stuck and you don't know what to do. So working for the community, like, it really is going that extra mile and making sure that you are putting all your effort so that the project that you are doing, they're actually generating results. And I don't want to like generalize anything and talk about results, like what does results look like. Maybe result is like you want to run an event that gets a lot of attention, a lot of traction from a specific audience. Maybe it's, for a lot of, organizations, maybe you want to open up like something that speaks to certain stigmas that were placed against the community that you want to address, that, removes it or approves the environment. Whatever it is, people have it. Everyone has their own personal agenda in terms of how they want the community to improve. Because that's what we want. We want community development and we want sustainable leadership. But it depends. It really depends how that is looked at. And because of that, it becomes a tricky, a tricky atmosphere where now you're just kind of like fighting to do this. And it's like the people on your team, some may be like, okay, I'm down with you. Others may be like, look, it's no point fighting it. Like, I know there's people who have like told me that, like sometimes doing community work is not really in my MO because like what's that's going to do for me? Like there'll be times that people will say that, you know what? I have to stop doing this work because they weren't paying me. Like I have to stop doing this because they didn't have no plans for us later. Like we finished this, but they didn't really follow up. Or better yet, we have to stop this because they didn't improve this last step. So now we have to hold up on the rest of the things that we need to do. And it happens. It's like for me personally, it's just, I'm not saying I don't hate community work at all because I do think it's important. But also, I think it goes back to the individual and how does your mental health feel? Do you feel like if you're going to do this for a long time and you're going to run into the same like roadblocks and the same obstacles, how many times can you tell yourself, okay, you know what, maybe this community work isn't really the direction I want to go for myself. Maybe I want to build my own personal thing, kind of do something for myself, and sometimes you find yourself in that space where you have to tell all your other people, your coworkers, like, hey, look, like this is cool, but I don't know if I want to keep playing this game with the government. Because again, the government, they can be annoying, especially with money. Like with funding, like they could just be giving you all the craziest things. I've heard excuses about like, oh, the funding's come in, but it's still being processed, or there's issues with terms of how much people you hire, or like, oh, we need to see a framework. Like, I think that's probably my least favorite excuse. Like, we need like a framework of like what you want to do. It's like, we did this in the first time to just get the fund, and you want us to do another framework to get another fund, where it's like we were updating you throughout the entire duration before whether it's a grant money or a large sum of money was given. We were doing that before that was like clean, and you want us to like refer to everything we've done before. Again, it gets annoying. So I'm not gonna say pick a side, but I'm gonna like talk about it from just the two sides quickly. So working for the community, if you are passionate and you want things to get done, then be that person that finds a group of people who share that aspiration and go do it. I will say this, it's hard. It is hard because again, it becomes where your persistence gets the best of you. Like, trust me, like I know this personally. I've had like issues where people tell me that I'm too persistent. And you know what? Sometimes for others, your biggest strength is your biggest weakness. And I learned that the hard way. So there are times I have to like really step back, dial in, and be like, you know what? Maybe I should just take a couple steps back. Just look at something bigger and be like, okay, how is this helping everyone? Because sometimes you want to do something good, but sometimes you get so clouded in your judgment, you kind of go into this individual tunnel where you're just kind of seeing through, but it's like people are trying to get in and like trying to let you know what's happening, but you're just kind of blocking them out. And sometimes that could poison your mind. So yes, find a group of people that have that same drive as you, but don't try to go too far. I know there's people that be doing projects and everything, and again, I can put my hand up for this, where you're messaging your team about like, yo, like we gotta do this, we gotta do that, we gotta do that. And there's people like, yo, Sean, chill, man. like listen, I get it, but we don't have to rush into it. So it's a double-edged sword. It's tricky. It requires commitment, working for the community, but also patience as well. So please use those traits when you're doing this type of work. It's important for people working within the community. Now, I get it. If you're getting tired of community work and you feel comfortable to not do it anymore, that's cool. But I want people to understand, when people like that, including myself, say that, it is not us justifying that you should never do community work ever again. Because I kid you not, especially if you're a black youth within a marginalized community, like whether it's Jane or Finch, like Keelan Shepherd, or whatever you want to name it, Rexdale, you name it. There has been one time in our life, I guarantee you, and if not, I don't want to generalize, but for most of us, there's been one time you've been involved in some community activity, whether it's at school, outside your school, anything. There's been a time we've done something like that. Community work is not just like working for an organization. Community work can be described in different ways. I don't want to go too deep into that, but you know what I'm trying to say. Some point of our life, we've done this. So it's not to say that when we do more of it, that we get tired of it. It's like never do it. No, it's going to happen. And if it's still the work you want to do, cool. But also at the same time, try to find ways where if you feel you still want to help the community, maybe it's in the sense that, you know what, I don't want to be part of a team to do it. Maybe I want to do my own thing and help the community. Because you know what? That's okay. That really is okay. I'm being honest. With my podcast, what I try to do, I try to bring people who are doing different businesses, different initiatives that are being beneficial to the community, and it can be represented in so many different ways. And I try to get on them on the podcast so they can explain it to my audience. So hopefully it helps them for something. Now, again, I'm not no big business like mogul or something like that. I'm just a 20-year-old dude that's just trying to figure out the pieces. But I feel like, not every action move needs to be a big one, although you still want action. But also not every action move needs to be something that has to drastically change something in one day. Like sometimes it takes like a couple steps to get to that final destination, and that's okay. So if you feel like you want to do something like that, where you're kind of working on your own, but it's still benefiting the community, that you're starting to see changes and improvement, then do it. Working within the community is more than just working for one organization. Sometimes it's networking. Sometimes it's getting connections. Sometimes it's getting your foot in the door, learn these experiences, and being able to say, you know what, now that I know what's happened, I can apply it to my own skill set and then make something bigger for myself. This podcast, I'm gonna be honest, I think because of all the community work I've done, and when I went to university, I told myself, you know what, like I want a platform for myself. Hopefully what I do, it can help the community some way, and maybe if I get things bigger with my podcast, I can really take it to the community, like full head, like full spearheaded. It depends. It really depends. But I would recommend that you guys do that. I think it's important, and I really believe that if we have that mentality, a good friend of mine used to say this, Muhammad, shout out to you, man. You want to have that wolf mentality. It's like, you know what you're doing, but you want to have that pack as well, and sometimes that pack can be represented, whether it's you're working for a community organization, working within the community, or maybe you have your own brand, you have your own supporters. That works as well. So I think that is really important, and I think we should really apply that in our daily lives. But again, I don't want you guys to pick one side about, should I just work for the community or work within the community? That's not the whole point of the discussion. I just wanted to say it again. If this was uncomfortable for you, then I totally get it. Maybe you hold dearly hearted to the community, especially how much experience you have. I mean, I've had experience, but let's be honest, I'm not like fully like deep in. So my experience could look like nothing compared to what other person's experience. Like, for sure. Like, I totally get it. But I just wanted to get that off my chest. Now that we've done that, let's get into this news. So I'm scrolling through this week, and then I find something about COVID-22. Like, what? Wait, what is that? COVID-22. So I think it has to do with a variant on the loose. I don't know. By the way, can I just say this? I don't know what it's been lately, but these variants have been getting out of hand. It's actually starting to piss me off. It really is actually starting to piss me off. And now there's talks about a fourth wave in Ontario, which people are projecting, or should I say doctors are projecting that could be the biggest yet. So, like, what was it? A month ago, we were like nearly at under 120, and all of a sudden we just skyrocketed. Now, I think a couple of people have talked about this, and I did see a recent episode of the Echo podcast that was it's under Street Voices TV. Shout out to them. These three individuals, Apollo, Jeff, Katie, you guys are doing amazing. They talked about the pandemic. Can't speak. I'm sorry, guys. The pandemic, and basically what was happening with COVID. And to be honest, they brought some good points. How the rollout with the vaccines, I felt like that wasn't proper. It was just weird. And if its results were people have to get another shot, like, I'm gonna be honest, I'll take it. Like, if I have to take it, I'll take it. But it's like, come on, man. How many times are you gonna inject me with this where it's like, it's not gonna work? Like, honestly, if this COVID thing is going to drop, it's not where people are going to be like, okay, we have to wait to 0 cases. Because if you're doing that, your expectations or your mindset is just gonna be clogged up. It's gonna be messed up. You just wait until it hits 0. That's not how it works. I think, honestly, COVID is gonna be something that stays here. When I say stays here, it's something like the flu. But I don't think it's going to be in the sense where, like, hopefully we don't have to be in this lockdown situation with the mask. But mostly, like, maybe it's like a seasonal thing. Like, around this time, COVID cases start to pop up. Maybe it's something like that, hopefully. But yeah, the cases and everything, just, if you see a point for about a month where you don't see any high threats, then yeah, then I would probably tell you that, okay, COVID's probably done. And at a month, I'm probably being generous. I would probably say 2 months. Because even a month, I would not even give them the benefit of the doubt. But this whole COVID thing, it's getting ridiculous. It clearly seems that they're not controlling these variants. They're just running all over the place. I don't know how they can't just get these people, the individuals, I don't know, like, put them in a contamination room or something like that. Like, I'm very confident that people still don't know what the COVID virus is. I'm very confident. Like, do you really believe these people have it down? Do you? I don't. I really don't. And again, about this COVID-22 thing, before anyone goes off the rail and it's been a trend that I've been hearing for the past couple days. It's actually based off like a variant story. I don't really have it pulled up with me, but all I have to say is this, things are open. And especially for a lot of the college, university students, high school students who are having classes soon. All I'm saying is please be safe. Don't be reckless. Like if you know you haven't got vaccinated, like fully vaccinated, or don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. It's not me being like pro vaccine or anything or me being stingy. I'm just saying for everyone's health, like just do what you gotta do. Get vaccinated, do what you need to do, and that's cool. And plus, another thing that even my sister and I talked about too, things are never gonna go back to the same. Like the mask, I think people are gonna try to ditch that, but I won't even lie. I was always like a person that cared about my surroundings and what I touched. Like, see me, like I don't know you, like when you walk into like a grocery store and like they have the bars that you push in. I never touched it. I only like knocked it between like my hip. That was it. I never tried to like touch it because I'm like, bro, I don't know what's been on there. Someone could have sneezed and wiped their hands. Someone could have pulled out a booger. Someone could have scratched their butt. It's like, nah, I'm not about that nonsense. Please, okay? But I've always been that person that's been precautious. But don't forget too, if you can't take like any germs or dirt, then like it's gonna be worse when you do catch like something like COVID because you're not gonna be immune to it. I'm pretty sure for all of us growing up, we've done some of the most dirtiest things that I'm pretty sure people don't want to speak about. I know that for sure, and it's at a point where like you see stuff like this, and it for some of us like it doesn't have an effect. Others it does, and again, it's based on just how our bodies take it. But at the same time, it's just like, you would assume that something as serious as this, it would affect everyone, but it is what it is. But to be completely honest, this COVID thing has it's just really got out of hand. I really hope there's not a fourth wave. I mean, there's been speculations, and I don't like to go off of speculations. I like hard facts, please. I don't like your little theories and everything. I will say because it's not as cold yet. I mean, we're about to hit September. It's actually been the last couple weeks. The last 2 weeks have actually probably been the hottest weeks of the year. Like I kid you not, bro. So I don't know when things are gonna take a shift where we start to transition to like fall, winter weather. Honestly, for all the people in Toronto, we all know like winter comes like around like January, like February. Especially snow. Like I'm telling you right now, Christmas is no longer December 25th. Like I'm a person, I love me some snow during the winter time. I don't care what anyone says. I love me some snow. It gets me in that holiday mood. When I don't see snow, it honestly feels like another month. Like December don't feel, but it feels like another month. Just random. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Just make sure you guys keep yourself safe. Let's just pray that there isn't a fourth wave because I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting used to going back out there, just enjoying all the places that I didn't get to go for the last year. And you know me, like when I'm inside the house, I'm inside the house. I'm not trying to break no rules or get myself into trouble. So yeah, it gets tricky, but let's just hope that nothing goes wrong, that everything is cleared up because I know everyone wants to just move on, go back. I wouldn't say go back to normal, but just go back to a place where things are just safe, secure, and we don't have to be always looking over our shoulders for any common threats of COVID cases just randomly spiking up because we don't want that. I think that's about it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up for this week, but thank you guys for listening. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you follow the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google Podcasts as well. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at the Safe Room Podcast and Twitter at the Safe Room Pod. I drop episodes every Friday at noon. And yeah, I do have a couple of special news that I want to mention maybe later on this week, maybe next week. But just know, like, we're making big moves. We're trying to like get this podcast on the going. Like, listen, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, it really helps me if you guys support and you let people know about the stuff that I'm doing because again, like I don't just do this for myself because again, I love to have these conversations, just go on here and kind of speak my mind. But I'm hoping that there's someone who hears the stuff that I'm saying. It helps benefit them. Just hearing it from one perspective to another. And sometimes when I bring guests on the show, I hope you guys enjoy that. hearing about the stuff that they do, their businesses. And don't get me wrong, we do have those fun conversations as well. We don't try to make it all strict and everything. We like to mix it up. And hey, if you even like the podcast, maybe you can come on the podcast and you can talk about something that's on your mind. Again, this is an environment that I just want to open up to you guys. It's not just me, it's it's basically a family here. The Safe Room is a family, and I hope that you guys just keep supporting it all the way. I would really appreciate it. But I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta prepare for a couple other things. Again, I have some big news. I'll be announcing it very soon. But until then, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.